Dan Illman, Matt Bernier, big afternoon of racing at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. Let's throw up the field for the Grade 3 Sugar Swirl Stakes. Fillies and mares sprinting 6 furlongs, $100,000 is the purse. We'll be kicking off a 50-cent pick 5. And the number 1 Dearest won this race off of a long layoff. She is coming off a long layoff this year. 6-5 though?
Well, I think on paper she probably deserves to be something close to it. I don't know about 6-5, maybe 7 or 8-5. I think she's the best horse in the race. I don't know why they've tried to continue on at 7/8 of a mile. I think she's 3/4 just right. That's what she is. She's a 6 furlong horse. To me, this race is all about pace making the race. I think she's going to have a miserable time on the front end. There's going to be a lot of other people that are going to be, cooking her tootsies early on. The problem is, if she wins that battle, does it soften her up enough for somebody coming off? That's kind of my opinion.
At 7, I'd worry more about that. At 6, I think if she wins the battle over this track, she has a very good chance to keep going. She's the fastest horse on paper. I think the question is whether she won this race off of a 3-month layoff last year or not. Where has she been? And from the inside, Edgar Zayas has no options. Yeah. He has to go. Maybe if she's not completely 100% tight, she's somewhat vulnerable at 6-5. If you're betting the Gulfstream Saturday card from home, sign up to DRF Bets for the $300 bonus, drf.com/fall. Promo code FALL300 to access a $300 bonus for DRF Bets. All right, let's take a look at some of the other runners in this race, beginning with the 2 Miss Hollywood. This was a $1 million purchase as a young horse who just went through the ring and sold for $725,000 at Phasig, tipped in November. Now back with Mark Casse. On occasion, she runs some big races, especially at Gulfstream.
Yeah, she got some fast figs. I mean, the most recent run at Belmont, I know it was on turf, but she earned an 87 buyer. And I know we're talking about apples to oranges, but I at least want to see that she can still run fast. She can do that. My problem is all 3 of her lifetime wins have come essentially in gate-to-wire fashion, with the exception of the maiden score. She sat just a little bit that day. She's going to need to sit in this spot, because if she goes and duels with Dearest, she's in trouble.
Timeform U.S. Pace Projector for the Grade 3 Sugar Swirl Stakes. Tootsie's perhaps cooked for the 1 Dearest. 6 Girls Know Best we have on the early lead. According to Timeform US, red bar indicates we're expecting a barbecue up front. As for Girls Know Best, listen, she's won her last 3 starts. She's won 4 out of her last 5. Could be a very shrewd claim for Eddie Keneally, who took this one for $40,000 2 starts back, but she's taken on elders and she's taken on some quality speed.
Yeah, and the other thing is she's light on figs overall. I think the worst thing, if you like this horse, the worst thing that ever happened to you was Javier Castellano, because you're going to lose probably more points than you should.
1.5 maybe, and you really can't take that when there's so many other questions. You got to demand value. We know the True Romance is fast, and I think they learned their lesson from last time out in the Pumpkin Pie Stakes, where I think the connections were overly cognizant of the fact that Lucy and Ethel was in the race, and they didn't want to get involved in a pace duel. And lo and behold, it was a speed favoring inside track. Lucy and Ethel got the lead, walked the dog. This time around, I think that Paco is going to say, I'm faster than Girls Know Best, and I want to put pressure on Dearest. I am going.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. Like you say, if you think that you're faster than Girls Know Best and you can crack a horse that may not be completely tight in Dearest, all of a sudden you're the one that's on the chooch turning for home. And at Gulfstream, we talked about it. I mean, there are a lot worse places to be than on the lead at the top of the stretch.
This horse outran her odds when 3rd in the TCA, 2 starts back behind a serious filly and mare sprinter and Finley's Lucky Charm. Didn't like that she didn't change leads in the stretch that day. Bodacious Babe on the outside also has a little bit of speed. Talk about layoffs. We haven't seen her since the summer, where she was 3rd at Delaware. The runner-up is a nice Mid-Atlantic horse, Sweet on Smoke. He came back to run 3rd in a similar stake at Laurel with an 81 buyer. I think her only chance is to rate, and she hasn't shown that ability.
No, and from a class standpoint as well. I don't think she's quite this good. I think you've got one way to go if you're a Rat Ortiz. The problem is, I don't think she's fast enough to get to the front.
I'm a big fan of Pretty Perfection. Boy, I chased her in the Smart and Fancy at 20-1 and got a brief thrill. Chased her in the Presque Isle Masters. Really didn't run very well on a synth. Kind of she made her hay earlier in her career as a 5.5 furlong turf sprinter. Got a win on dirt at this distance, 2 back at Parks. Scored in an off-the-turf race last time out at Churchill Downs. I still think she's better on turf, but she might get the right setup here.
I was going to say, I mean, is this one of those instances where you look at it and say, oh, well, she's won her last 2 on dirt. Maybe she was dirt all along. Or do you look at it and say, the figs are lighter than they were on turf, and she was just thrown in some really tough spots. I think she's a turf sprinter.
More Than a Party returned off a layoff last time out in a race where I think trainer Eddie Broom was using as a prep. It was her first start in blinkers. She showed slight improvement on the Buyer's scale. You got to go back in the Wayback Machine to see her figs. We're talking late 2014, early 2015, when she really did good work over this track. I'm not sure the 6-year-old more than a party can step with these early.
I was going to say, if you all of a sudden turn back the clock, she'd have a big chance in here. But the problem is, based on the recent form, even with a prep, I don't think she's good enough.
Stellar Performance comes into this race off of a win at 7 furlongs. I think she's going to be out-sprinted early. Both of her wins have come when she's been battling for the lead, and her buyers are light.
Going to need to improve in a big way.
Let's take a look at our top picks for this race. I'm really interested in Matt's opinion. I have to admit, I don't have a really strong opinion in this race. I think if Dearest does come back, the Dearest of July or March, she's going to win. I would never touch her at 6-5. If I was playing the pick 5, I would use her, but I would also use the 7 Pretty Perfection, hoping the trip works out. And I'm also using your horse, the number 8, Rich Mommy. Tell the folks why you like her.
Well, Rich Mommy on paper, she's light on figs and she's light on class. But the thing is, she really hasn't done anything wrong in her career. She's 8 of 9 hitting the board anyway. She's 7 of 9 in the exact of the most recent run. I thought it was a good effort. Now, visually, it might not have been the most impressive because they needed to push on her a little bit on the far turn. But when she tipped out, angled out, she came down and she finished very well going away. I just think it's one of those instances where if all the other speeds do line up and you do get that barbecue early on, she could sit just off, maybe because you lose Jaramillo, because I believe he's going to be riding across town at Tampa. But Luis Saez is a competent rider. We know that. He's clipping at 24% early on here. I just think she could get the trip in here. She's going to need to improve, but I think she's going to get the trip. I'll take a shot at a decent number.
And I still think she's basically unexposed. I think that she has scope for improvement. This is only start number 10. That was an important race because it showed she could sit behind horses and finish as strongly as she did when she was pressing the pace. She likes Gulfstream Park. This outside post, with all of those speeds in there, why can't she just sit 4th on the outside and get the jump on the true deep closers? She's 12-1 on the morning line. You take her at that price.
Absolutely. I think she's probably somewhere in that 7 or 8-1 that I would play her at, and I think I'm probably going to get pretty close to every bit of the 12.
Matt's going to go 8-1 in the Grade 3 Sugar Swirl. I'm going 1, 8, 7, and 9. Again, if you're playing this card from home, DRF Bets gives you the great deal. $300 sign-up bonus, drf.com/fall. Use the promo code FALL300. An approximate post time for race number 7, the Sugar Swirl, the first leg of the 50-cent pick 5, 3:05 Eastern. Good luck.